Alright guys, so I was having a conversation the other day with somebody and it brought up something to me that I realized I don't think I've ever done a video on, at least not exclusively on this one particular topic. And that is this idea of natural born rights versus man-given rights or government-given rights. You know, where do your rights come from? Do they come from the end of a pen because somebody wrote something down, or do they come from the fact that you were born and you have rights just by the mere fact that you were born? Natural born, inalienable rights. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, that kind of thing. Where do your rights come from? Now, there are two sides of this, obviously. And a lot of people like to separate it down to right versus left, Democrat versus Republican, conservative versus liberal, whatever it is. And usually they like to point to the left, liberal, Democrat side of things. Oh, they're the ones that think your rights come from the end of a pen. And everybody on the right thinks your rights come from God or natural born rights, inalienable rights, whatever it is. But that's not always true, because I know a lot of people who are traditionally on the left that do believe that they have rights simply by being born. And I know a lot of people on the right who think that just because, traditionally a conservative believes in God-given rights or inalienable natural born rights, that they think from a practical standpoint, well, no, quite honestly, if you can't enjoy a right, if you can't take part in that right, then practically speaking it doesn't exist and you don't have that right, so therefore your rights come from the government and whoever's willing to basically write it down. So there is overlap there. But this is an important subject to talk about, and it's something we as people who are pro-freedom and pro-liberty should be very comfortable discussing and very comfortable kind of spreading the word on, because I very much fall onto the side of things that I believe we have natural born rights. When you are born, doesn't matter where you're born, you have the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. You have the right to freedom of speech. You have the right to keep and bear arms to defend yourself against any and all tyranny. You have the right to not convict yourself, to the government. You have these rights just because you were born, period. I firmly believe that, all the way to my core. Now, why is that important? Why is it important that we should understand that and we should believe that? And why we should understand that it's not a practical thing, that it's not about, oh, well, we technically don't have those rights unless somebody wrote it down. Why is it important to understand that's not the case? Well, it's important to understand because the more people that understand their rights are inalienable, that their rights are natural born, whether you believe in God, whatever it is, that we are born with these rights, then the more people out there that are willing to fight for those rights. Because when people fall prey to the ideology that their rights come from somebody writing them down, they come from the government, then they become more subservient to that government because they're submitting power over their rights on a mental level to the government. They're admitting, the government controls what I do. If they say I can't do something, I can't do it. No matter what it is. Whether we're talking about freedom of speech or whether we're talking about your ability to have to wear a seatbelt or not when you're driving around. You're giving over a piece of your freedom to the government freely if you accept that they are the ones that give you those rights. And that is where we begin to lose our fight for freedom. That is where people begin to lose their need to want to fight for more freedom. The more people in this world who grow up believing and maybe even learn later on down the road that their rights are natural born to them, they are inalienable, and that they have these rights. Even if they live in North Korea or China or somewhere else that's highly restricted, it doesn't matter. They still have these rights. These are still the rights that they should be fighting for. The more people that understand that, the better the world will be, the better our country will be, the better society will be when we have these people who understand that these are their natural born rights, their natural born freedoms. That's why it's important. That's why we need to make this a bigger topic. We need to talk about this and discuss this with others. When you're at work, when you're online, when you're talking to family, friends, whatever it is, this should be something that should be a topic that should come up from time to time. How important is it for us to know where our rights come from? It's one of the most important things that we need to know.